Hi and welcome to my studio. In today's video we're talking palettes, and specifically the two palettes I use the most. One is this one, my Magello double-decker palette, and the other one is technically not a palette, but still I love to use it, and it's this one. This is a palette more like a mixing tray for gouache and those kind of mediums. Both allow me to have so much room when I paint, just like in a slightly different way. I'll be talking about them both and I'll share with you my thoughts and why I choose one over the other one. And without further ado, let's dive into the video. Okay, so what you're seeing here is my usual setup. I have my mixing tray, usually I keep it on my left hand side when I paint. Then I have my water right there, spray bottle, kitchen paper, and paintbrushes. And I also have my tonal values and Masstone scale. It's a very helpful tool for when I paint. Talking about my palettes, let's start from the double-decker Magello palette because many people ask me about this one. So this palette, I bought it maybe like a year ago or so, and I loved it. The reason why I bought it is because it has a huge amount of space inside. Like the name says, it's a double-decker, so it has two trays. You could use it this way, so you have access to all the paints, but still kind of compact space, although it's huge, like it's as long as my forearm. And obviously the fact that it fits so many colors is definitely a plus. That's like the main feature. And the thing about this one is that also you can use it this way and you have twice as much space, if not even more, to mix your colors. I forgot to clean it, but usually I start with a fresh palette. And the way that I place my colors on this palette, since I still like to have a sense of the color wheel, I lay them down in a circular way. So I started from my yellows, oranges, reds, cool reds, so then it goes into the violet, blues, and greens, and then down to the earth tones. And also the thinking was if I wanted to cool down the red, I'll go to the opposite side. These are my three greens: sap green, Primary sap green, which is an oxide green, a phthalo green yellow shade, and a phthalo green blue shade. I like practical things, and I think it was quite intuitive. The main difference between this palette and the other one is that this one can fit up to 72 colors, and because the wells are protected by the walls, the paints don't bleed into each other. And also when you activate the paints by spraying them, the paint doesn't run away onto the mixing surface. The wells are sloped, so your paint is gonna sit there. As you can see, sometimes my paints get contaminated just because I'm touching them with a dirty brush, but that's not really a problem for me. I just swipe them off and they're ready to rock again. The only time I feel a little inconvenience with this palette is when I need to work with thicker consistencies. Those times I need to plan a little bit more and I need to carry the paint from the wells onto the mixing surface, so I do feel like I'm wasting some kind of paint here too. And I guess that's part of painting. Regarding the materials which this palette is made of, it's a very nice piece of plastic, if we want to put it this way. Jokes aside, it opens and closes smoothly, the double-decker never really gets in the way. It's a robust palette in general. Now, let's talk about my other mixing tray. This one, no brand. It doesn't have any brand. It's made out of metal. This one has some thinking also behind it. So between the two of them, I prefer this one even so slightly. I'm a lazy painter and I like my paints to be there already on the mixing surface. The only thing I need to be careful of though is the quantity of water I bring onto this tray. As there are really no walls to protect a certain paint, if you bring in too much water, you may end up having a huge puddle of a certain paint. So again, watercolor calls for water control. One thing that I really love about this palette is how easy it is to clean. On spray, clean, no dirty paint sitting on this yellow. And yellow is a very sensitive color. You want to have it clean, connected and red. It really doesn't get any easier. The way I lay down the paints here, basically I have my yellows here. This is my primary yellow. Oh, by the way, these are all Holbein colors. I didn't say that, except for a few actually, but they're not gonna be staying here after I finish them. So it will be a fully dedicated Holbein palette. So I have my primary yellow here, which is imidazzolone yellow. This yellow is very light fast. It's not super transparent, but I don't mind because I usually use yellow in the first layer. Next to it, I have my yellow ochre because sometimes I want to take my yellow down a notch. Yellow ochre mixed with yellow gets the job done. I also have raw sienna here, and my slight preference is raw sienna. I would choose raw sienna over a yellow ochre. I also have a new color that I just bought, which is raw umber, a little more muted compared to raw sienna. It's basically like mixing raw sienna or yellow ochre with a touch of burnt umber. And for me, this is a convenience color when I paint animals. Next, we have quinacridone magenta and quinacridone red. The reason why the magenta and the red are here is because I many times mix yellow, any kind of earthy yellow, with some red. Not only that, but if I want it to be richer, I'll pull in some raw sienna. It's all gonna be staying here, it's all on the tray. It is so convenient to use this mixing tray. So yeah, everything's gonna be here. And another strategic touch is that I placed my new purple from Holbein. It's a very nice hue, this one. It's delicate, it's not an aggressive purple. Permanent violet. I placed it here because sometimes I want to tone my yellows down just a little bit, and so just add a touch of that into the mix. This is my blue. We have cobalt blue, we have French ultramarine light, and we have phthalo blue. I use them a lot when I mix them to create purples. You can see kind of here, I mixed it before. And the reason also why this burnt sienna is right here is because it can mute down this mix or it can deepen this one. So that's why it's in between these two areas. And next I have here my darks. So this is indigo from Memory Blue. Once it finishes, I'm not gonna put it back here. I'll be replacing this indigo with indigo from Holbein because this is my Holbein watercolor. My Memory Blues are more for abstract or when I want things to flow a little bit more. So first washes or when I want to layer, they're excellent for layering and glazing. They're very transparent. So here I have indigo neutral tint from My Memory Blue, burnt umber from My Memory Blue, Venetian red I think, or oxide red. This is a Van Gogh pigment. It's opaque. I like this one, especially when I paint animals and I want some thicker paint or something that gives me a bit more coverage. I use this one. Oh, and I forgot, I have white here for the same exact reason. When I'm in the first wash, sometimes I use this white with my blue or with my purple or with my muted blue purple. And basically the reason why I use it is not because I'm a white watercolor fan, or maybe I am too as a consequence, but basically I want my paint to be thicker. I want it to have light but at the same time not watery, and that's when white watercolor comes in handy. So it makes my paint thicker, doesn't spread as much, and if a color granulates, it cancels out that granulation a little bit. Here I have, this one is some kind of My Memory Blue color, turquoise something, basically it's blue, green blue. And then I have Van Gogh French Ultramarine Deep. I don't use it very much, also this one will go after I finish it. I have Sap Green from Holbein and Viridian Hue. These are my greens. I don't use green a lot, but I still want it in my palette because once in a while I do use it, so it might as well be there. See, they're very tiny dots compared to the burnt sienna. And then we have a richer yellow because when I paint cats or when I paint dogs, this color is the one that I reach for. Yes, technically I could mix yellow, some yellow ochre and some kind of cool red or warm red, but this one just takes me to the right hue that I want to get to. Plus it's a very transparent color, Pearl Red. This is a My Memory Blue and it will be replaced by the Holbein once it's finished. So I want this color to be next to my phthalo blue because sometimes I just need a muted purple and these two create a very nice natural looking muted purple. Simple as. These are all my hows and whys about these two palettes. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new from this. Maybe you'll adopt some of my ideas or techniques in the way you paint. I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.